Once upon a time, an elephant came to a village, and six blind people wanted to experience this elephant. How would they see it? They needed to touch it. One grabbed the tail and said, "The elephant is like a rope." Another touched the leg and said, "Like a tree trunk." Now, if you heard this story in singular, you might have heard Vangediya Vage. One touched the body. Actually, elephant is like a wall. Another touched the ear and disagreed. Elephant is like a fan. In the singular version, it says kullak vage. One touched the trunk and said elephant is like a snake. The last touched the tusks and said no, elephant is like a spear. Notice how the story changes between languages too. Aren't we also trying to make sense of the world and each other, like the blind people in this story? This is where empathy comes in. If we can improve our communication and empathize with each other, we might see the elephant a bit more clearer. Why a bit more clearer? Instead of completely clearly, there's an assumption that if you put yourself in someone's shoes, you can understand and feel what they're going through. But what if they don't have shoes? They might say, "At least you have shoes, I and others don't, so why are you complaining?" I'm not saying don't try empathizing. I'm saying we need to be mindful of our own limitations. Imagine the blind person holding the tail, going to the front and touching the trunk. If they never touched a snake, they might still say the trunk is like a rope. Understanding our limitations and point of reference is important. When people make it a life goal to always empathize with everyone and make it their identity, they run the risk of burnout and empathy fatigue. This is one argument Professor Paul Bloom makes in his book Against Empathy, a case for rational compassion. Remember when 6 elephants were hit by a train in Sri Lanka and the mother elephant wept near her family? When I read that story, I felt a knot in my stomach and deep pain. I'm not an elephant, I'm not a parent, yet I felt something. That's empathy. Sharing and feeling the other person's emotions, feeling with them. So, what about compassion? Empathy focuses on understanding and feeling. Compassion focuses on action. Feeling concern for another's suffering and the desire to help. Feeling for them. Empathy can lead to burnout from absorbing too much distress all the time. Compassion builds resilience and motivation because the focus is on action, at times even without absorbing the pain. Just to clarify, you can have empathy and compassion at the same time. When we volunteer, when we engage in community projects, we are practicing both empathy and compassion. We are moving from feeling with people to acting for people. The blind people touching the elephant were trying to understand. But imagine if they worked together, shared what they each felt, and instead of arguing and firmly believing what they believed and staying in their own places, what if they help each other to move around the elephant? That's what happens when we show up for each other. When we contribute, when we build something together rather than just trying to understand from our own isolated perspectives.